What's up, you guys, and welcome back to the Alapa podcast. It is a pleasure to host you again. It has been a hot minute since the last episode. Um, well, first I was on holiday, and then I had some technical dysfunctions, hiccups in regards to the podcast, and especially the video. And it has kind of sucked out a little bit of the will to live. For me. That is also the reason why you won't see my pretty face today, but just hear my voice. I don't know if this is transitioning to only audio. Um, Again, it will break my heart because I feel like my pod needs to be visual, or I want it to be visual, and that is that. So you hear of me trying to figure that shit out because apparently my iPhone is just not it's just not showing up to the video anymore. So I need to find a solution. If you have an idea, I would be delighted to know. Other than that, I'm just grateful to have you listening anyway. And today is a very nice kind of setting and a nice kind of conversation. So I'm excited to get into all of the jazz and the juice with you. But before that, um, my drink. You catch me on a Wednesday morning. It is 9:30, and usually I record the episodes in the afternoon, but today I felt inspired to sit down in my mornings and do this kind of first things first after my walk and gathering some flowers and movement practice and meditation and the jazz. So I made myself a little coffee. And coffee's short, coffee's simple, coffee's coffee. And I love that. Let me take a sip. Mm, very delicious. Very, very nice. I also do add some mushroom adaptogenics into it, which makes it taste a little earthy, but it's very nice and it's very good for your brains. I actually got the mixture from one of my best friends. She does this herself. It's the coolest thing to know people that just have skills besides being fucking epic. And she's an herbalist. So she once mixed me some adaptogenic mushrooms together. And I have been using that ever since, here and there, because I'm saving it, because I like it very much. But today, so we have a little adaptogenic coffee, which is nice. And what we also have is an epic fucking conversation, as I've probably said 5 times already. It's a conversation that you guys actually chose. Um, and we're talking about the power of inspiration and kind of the reason of our togetherness in this world, why we came here together and not by ourselves. And with that conversation, we are actually tiptoeing at the leading edge of my own personal revolution, or just the revolution that I choose to live, and what my art is mainly informed and inspired by, because this goes really into the philosophy um, of my soul, essentially, or just how I see the world. And to get into it, I have actually created a little, I don't know, schedule, framework, structure for myself, because this is a topic that I could go on for days. If you want to have a chat with me that leasts that lasts for days, we can talk about that. Hit me up. But as we don't have days, I kind of gave myself a structure and I mind blurped, and that mind blurb came out quite poetic, and it's beautiful, and I love to just feel and taste and see and hear and all this, my writing. So I would like to read. My words are leaving me already, and we are what, 3 minutes in, 4 minutes in. Anyway, so what I'm going to read to you now is kind of a summary of my perspective on why we live here together, on why we are a society, why we are a people and not just a person in this world, and kind of what the magic I see in all of this. Okay. I love reading my poetry, so enjoy, I guess. The reason of our togetherness is something that has always felt so utterly poetically infused, which has naturally drawn my interest. I am truly fascinated by the contrasts living in our human society, fascinated about what connects us as a race, a people, a society beyond self imposed boundaries, rules, structures, and boxes we squeeze our humanly magnificence into. I am curious to see, day by day, the threads that are floating from our bodies to life, which are innately the same I see in myself, as I do in you. The colors may vary, yet in its essence we are of the same. And that intrigues me. For I see connections from human to human, which speak of this utter similarity, yet I can too witness it in my own conversing with nature. When I see the body of nature starting to resemble my own, once I quieten, listen, watch, feel, and open. Oh, a true feast of mystery and hours of pondering that is for me. But this isn't all. For what connects us needs a counterpart, which is that serves our difference in all things, our individuality. It's a peculiar occurring to me for God to have created one of the same in many different faces, like an entire mirror dimension upheld only by all the living, breathing organisms in the spatial border of our time and space. Utterly interesting. So, besides that, which is of the same in all of us and in the world, that which connects us, there is that which tells us apart. Our individual uniqueness, our own thinking, our sovereign will of life, our exclusive desires, our private yearnings, our particular tastes and interests. In this grand web of all our sameness, there are so many colors to paint our individual threads to life, which in turn connects us as one and the same again, for our individuality is too one which we all have, and connects us as one being once more. But it is our singular uniqueness that stands out, that stands as our own way shower in this life we all are living. In this dimension of billions and billions of mirrors, that which connects us will forever bind us to our collective breath, while our own sense of self acts as this private relationship we have with life, God, the Creator, great pussy in the skies, her of art and mysteries, the divine, however she calls herself in your life. And that is, in many ways, all we have as our own in this lifetime. The experience of one face life chooses to wear, a gift in disguise of our unique sense of self as God. Yeah. I have read this a couple times, and every time I do, I'm like, oh, girl, you just narrow, like you just bring it home, you just bring it home. This was quite abstract. This was quite poetic, but I am here for you to unravel this with you, because there is so much in this that I can and I will and I want to talk about. And I'll take a sip of my coffee and then we go straight into all of it. Okay. So, something that really fascinates me of our togetherness, and that is also mentioned in that poem, um, is what connects us and what tells us apart. I find this one of the most interesting thoughts in this world, in this life, in my experience, to just see, observe, and kind of take note of all the ways we are the same as the person in front of us, or as the tree in our backyard, or as the flowers displayed on our table in a bouquet, or as the vacuum cleaner that I see from my point of view. But let's keep it with people and a little bit with nature. Um, there are so many aspects of our human experience which are the same in each and every life, right? Very classical ones is we breathe, we sleep, we think, we feel, you know? Then there are like these universal needs and desires that we have, right? For connection, for love, for expression, for purpose, for belonging, for safety, right? These are things that everybody of us have in various degrees, of course. And yet, each and every one of those desires and needs are uniquely painted, uniquely colored. And that is because of our individuality. We are all humans, but we are all individual expressions of what it means to be human. And then there is our individuality. And I find that so interesting. Is that each and every one of us has, like, yes, these common themes and desires and, happenings in life, yet they are so individual. And then on top of that, they have their absolutely unique ways of expressing themselves, ways of thinking. What? Nobody thinks the same. This is so interesting to me. I will pay so much. I will give a big amount of money or a big amount of my fucking kidney for one day being able to, by choice, pop into people's heads and just witness the way they think. Isn't that so truly fascinating? And this fascination that I have with this, I don't know, is this a philosophy? Maybe. Let's call it that. With this philosophy has informed my life experience and my art, which is one and the same. But anyway, in so many different ways where it allowed my creativity to flow in a more unrestricted and open and curious way, where my worldview has softened. I still don't agree with many things happening in the world, yet my judgment has kind of softened. And then when it comes to the relationship with my own self, this is where real shit has happened because of me kind of embracing that or these thought patterns and view of the world and understanding. Because the peace that just a realization gave that, oh, we're all human. Oh, the fears that I have are not just, it isn't just me. There's so many people having similar or the same fears, right? Oh, this shitty thing happened in my life. Well, so many other people experience shitty things happening in their life. There is an odd sense of connection that comes with embracing our humanness. And what it helped me the most, I think, is to feel a part of something without needing to, I don't know, wallow and write in the pain and my suffering, right? I didn't need to trauma bond with anybody. I could just trauma bond with my concept of society yet. um, no, of course not. But just accepting that, yeah, we're all humans, you know, that's a part of the journey. And it's shitty in the moment, and maybe it's shitty later too, but it just allowed my body to not exclude itself or isolate itself, being like, oh my God, this is only happening to me, and I have to, I don't know, I'm different, I'm weird, and whatnot. Because that's not that. But then, besides this, allowing the humanness to just take place in life and to let myself be human, you know? The way my authenticity has been allowed to bloom because I no longer regard or intend to regard other people as, I don't know, a threat, uh, a canvas to place my judgment upon, because I allow myself to be inspired by so many things in life, and understanding that the other people around us are simply just mirroring us, and they are helping us to connect deeper with our own selves and are actually empowering our authenticity to come true. And let us get into that for a second, because this to me is truly what the power of inspiration does. Is it brings us closer to who we are. So in all things there is inspiration. In all things we can get to know ourselves better. And this to me is the power of our togetherness, because we need each other to mirror ourselves, to get to know ourselves, our authentic nature, our authentic core, our creative brilliance, our absolute magnificent uniqueness. True, the mirror of others. True, being inspired by the world. True, conversing and exchanging with the world and with the people, right? And to me, this is why inspiration could literally and is literally changing the world. We see it everywhere. There are so many people that are, living their life, following their path, following their purpose. And with that, they're empowering people that they can do it too. All the coaches and mentors and spiritual teachers or whatnot, sharing practices, experiences, stories, or whatnot of their journey, and inspiring people to indulge in their own bodies, to converse with spirit, to deepen into their own selves, into their own feelings, into their own magic and gifts. And isn't that the most beautiful thing? Because you know how inspiration is being shared? What lies at the core of inspiration? One of my fucking favorite things and words in this entire freaking world. It's authenticity. Because if somebody believes in something and it feels authentic, coming from their body, coming from them fucking bones, and they share that, they can inspire other people. in a positive way, but actually sharing your authenticity, sharing your values, embodying who you are is so freaking inspiring for other people, which allows them to see their authentic self reflected through you. Because I believe that people don't see you as who you are. They see you as who they see you. I don't think that I could see you as who you are truly in just day-to-day life. Maybe in a, you know, sacred, safe space, intentionally crafted to see each other's greatness, in a sense. But we always see ourselves reflected in other people. And surrounding yourself with people that inspire you, that informs your system in ways, yo. And I actually have a little teeny tiny story how that works. So I was at a concert this weekend, and there was a group of people dancing in front of me. First off, the whole fucking concept of people coming together to listen to music and dance is just immaculate. But anyway, so there was this girl, and she was really vibing with the music. And she was going off, and I was going off behind her, but she was really dancing, and there was so much joy on her face, and you could just feel her. She was like a shiny little diamond dancing around. And in the beginning, the people and her friends around were just kind of, normal dancing, so slash bopping to the fucking music and just whipping from side to side, right? You could see they're a little tense, they're a little, shy. But she was none of that. She was just dancing. And over the course of, I don't know, quarter hour, maybe half an hour, people started to dance more freely. And it was because of her. Because her unbridled joy, her openness, and her authenticity in her dancing of just like, it wasn't a performance at all, right? It was just her joy taking over and her body moving to it. Where people seeing that around felt loose enough to join in, felt safe enough that they could, let the tension fall and just step into their own ways of dancing and moving and maybe making a little wonky move, but nobody cared, knowing that it is all right. And I myself, which am pretty liberated in dancing in places, but I myself felt how my body changed in feeling, and especially in safety. That's what I felt. Of like, I feel so safe to just dance as I wish because of her. It was just such a nice, liberating feeling. And I didn't dance like a crazy person. I danced quite normal. It just felt really nice and really right. So it doesn't mean that you're going to turn into a crazy person and, come up with all your wanky moves. Maybe it does, but it didn't for me. So this is really, really, really what I'm coming to say here is because she expressed her humanness, in such an authentic, unique way. In that moment, she married what connects us with who she is individually and gave people the permission to do so themselves, to feel safe to move in that direction a little step forward. And that to me is such a beautiful, beautiful visual to express inspiration. And I also believe because we need each other in order to grow, we, on such a deep level, and everybody in their own degrees, but we so deeply crave community. It's why our hearts are leaking blood are silently in pain, seeing the world drifting apart, people drifting apart, people losing themselves in their screens, people losing themselves in their problems instead of their dreams. But there's real pain here because on a deep, deep level, we understand that we need each other. And I don't need the whole world for me and myself. You know what I mean? I want my people, I want my tribe, I want my community, but I want community because we need people that are of a similar gust of wind, of a similar flock, to help create an environment within ourselves and around ourselves to efficiently and effectively bloom. We need those people because with these people, we can discover more of ourselves in a much deeper way instead of just, spending time with people that you kind of resonate with, but then also it's very surface level and you actually do not really enjoy the time together. And when you come home, you feel drained. But having people around you that really inspire you, that inform your system that you are safe as who you are. This is the greatest fucking catalyst that can happen. And that can only happen because you have other people around you mirroring back to you what they see in you. And that is the most beautiful thing, I think, is happening in the world. And that is, again, why I think inspiration is one of the most vital, vital aspects in our human experience. Understanding that can really just soften so many parts of your conscious, of your mind. You don't need to judge. You can simply observe. Leave people be. My fucking God. Leave people be who they are. Of course, I have people, especially at work, where I'm like, it's very intense for me when you open your mouth. I'm like, we're just really not on the same fucking wavelength. Your thoughts do so differ from mine, and I don't feel inspired by you. But it is always an invitation to accept, to allow them to be who they are without feeling, I don't know, it like a personal attack. In some way, I have to get angry and I have to get pissed and I have to be nerfed by that person. I can just accept. And sometimes it's actually quite funny because I'm like, you're so weird. I find this so dope. In my world, you're so weird. Maybe in yours, you're absolutely completely normal, But in my life, you're so weird. And there's no judgment in that. And I'm still learning, I have days I'm like, fuck off. Really. You bitch. And I think, again, here's our humanness, these emotions and these thoughts are just so fucking normal. But let's not get lost in them, right? To shift our perspectives out again and be like, yep, that's just who they are. And that is who I am. Because accepting others for who they are actually also softens accepting who you are inside of yourself. The more you accept yourself, the more you can accept other people for who they are, and the other way around. It's always an inward-outward thing happening simultaneously. The last thing that I want to talk about today is the inspiration of self. Because that bleeds into another conversation that we're going to have. But I want to just touch on this. Because now we've talked about how much we need other people for our growth, for our evolution, in connection with inspiration and how much of an impact that can have on you, shifting your perception from judgment or analysis to curiosity and allowing yourself to be inspired, right? And then also we talked about what connects us and what tells us apart, which is such a fucking beautiful thing. Again, every time I think about it, I'm like, oh my God, let me go think about it. But the last thing that I want to touch upon is being inspired by self. I am easily inspired by the world. And I think that is because I'm easily inspired by myself. And I'm not just saying like inspired of like, oh my God, girl. But just I like who I am. I like how different I am to other people. And I'm not saying I'm special, but I'm just different, right? Like you are different. And like yours, I don't know, best friend is different and on and on. But being inspired by self has been a vital counterpart of my self love journey and also deepening into my authentic essence and inhabiting my body. By being inspired by yourself, you are to the degree of your choosing, accepting yourself as who you are and are celebrating, are open to experience your uniqueness as a human, your unique experience of God as self. And that is so fun. Getting to know yourself by allowing yourself to witness yourself being yourself is such a cool thing. For example, picking the flowers that you like, cooking the meal that you crave right now. It sounds so simple because in its essence it is. But getting aware of the things that you enjoy, that you like, that bring you a sense of aliveness inside your body is, in essence, being inspired by yourself and is allowing you to connect to yourself in the most mundane places. It doesn't have to be a fancy practice with 2,000 candles lit and then that really monumental crystal that you got from, I don't know, Sedona. You know what I'm saying? It can be your meal. It can be the meal that you crave, cooking on the stove. And you're just getting aware that you're just right now cooking the meal that you crave. That your desire for that has inspired your action. And that is beautiful because you allowed that desire to exist and become something you can enjoy in matter and form. It may sound a little abstract, but it's a fucking understatement. You know? I like that, or I like the way you did that. Telling yourself that, it's a fucking understatement at how cataclysmic of a boost of empowerment that is. Once you start liking the ways you do life, you don't always have to like them, right? You can question them, you can ponder over them, you can adapt, you can change. God damn it, that's what life is for. That is what growth is for. That's why we were getting inspired by it, okay? But enjoying your unique way of doing things, of saying things, of dancing, of moving, of cooking, of how you fucking cut your onions. That is, to me, an expression of self-love and a really beautiful access point that you can do in mundane spaces to your authentic self and inform your system that you are loved, that you are appreciated, that you are cool. How many times? Oh, I'm really good at that, I gotta say, and I'm really proud of this. It feels like a really grand accomplishment to like myself to the degree that I do. And I'm continuously on falling in love with myself even more. But the amounts of time I just stop in my tracks, I'm like, you are so fucking cool. Like, how did you get so dope? Tell me your secret. Or when I pass a fucking mirror and I'm just like, girl, what? How can you be this cute and just walk around, I don't know, existing and just going about your dilly dally day? It is self love, and being inspired by self can be so playful and fun because this is the lightness that we crave, right? But to bring that to a close here is that you allowing your individuality to shine, maybe first in the safety and the comfort of your own space, of your own inner world, of your own body, of your own me time, and then carrying that out in the world is the most powerful act in my eyes that you can do. Because by inspiring others to be yourself or to do what you do, you have great influence that can change people's lives sustainably and your own. Because living by who you are and allowing the life to mirror and inform you and help you connect to more of yourself, that is when life becomes a game. That is when life becomes playful. And yes, we'll have hard moments, and yes, we'll have hiccups, and yes, we have moments where you just want to scream inside into a pillow and be like, what the fuck is happening here? That's human. That's it. That's life. That's how it can be. So I invite you to soften your gaze towards yourself, towards the world, and just allow yourself to get inspired by it and by yourself, to get curious about the world, about the people around you, to enjoy your people watching without judgment, but with just curiosity and see what happens next, as well as people watching your own self. Empowering yourself so you can empower others with your single presence, because that is when you start wielding the divine power gifted to you through art, through expression, through embodiment, through connection, through love, through touch, all of it. And this is why, to me, inspiration is the power that can change the world in a way that we cannot predict, but we can only hope for. Inspiration is that which shapes the world and connects all of us in the most peculiar ways possible. This is no coincidence, for life willed it so. Let us embrace what makes us human, and let us embrace what makes us us in our private setting and in social setting. Let us bring a little bit more love to who we are and who we could be. And let us watch the world change because of it. Thank you so much for joining into this conversation. I hope that brought you some lasting thoughts to ponder and maybe opened your mind a little bit. I hope it was cohesive. Is that the right word? And followable. Because once again, this topic, I could go on for days and I could lose myself so easily. But I'm very proud that I held to my structures, kind of. So, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. You're fucking epic. I hope you know that, okay? And you should laugh more, and you should find yourself a little bit more funny more often. And without further ado, I say bye. And I'll see you at the bar next time. Cheers, motherfuckers.